Once Bitten here. The This is a studio update for May 12th, 2015, and I'm doing it just because I haven't been on this channel in so long. I missed you guys. I wanted to come on and say something at least. I've got a few things I want to talk about. I don't have a whole lot of time tonight, but I want to talk about what's going on in the channel, what's going to be coming up in the near future. Talk about my Undead Legion just a little bit, and talk a little bit about the newest rumors on 9th edition, just because I find them intriguing. And yeah, then we'll call it at that. So number one, yeah, sorry for not having any videos posted lately. I've just been really busy. I've been traveling a lot. I think anybody who, especially those of you who follow my Facebook page, I put a notice up there about the countries and cities that I would be in, hoping to be able to meet up with some fans of the channel, and that didn't work out. Although there was kind of a funny story to be had there. I'll tell you in just a minute. Anyway, and then of course I got back, and then life is life. So every time I would otherwise have an opportunity to play, there's something going on with work or the family or something like that. So I don't know what I'm going to play next, to be honest. I mean, I can't. This weekend's bad. The earliest might be a week from tonight. So the good news is that life is good. So there's no bad reason why I'm not posting content. It's all good stuff. Let's see. And if I look to the side a lot, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So one story I want to tell, this is just awesome. So I was in my recent trip, I was able to go all around the UK and then Finland and Ireland. And so I'm in Dublin, Ireland, and it's the evening. I'm bored. What are you going to do in Dublin at night, right? For me, the best thing to do is I want to go find a local pub and just talk to people, hang out, have a Guinness or something. So I do that, and I go into this one pub, and a lot of people there. Of course, they're you can tell there's a couple or a family. I'm not going to go sit down next to them, but there's a guy talking to a couple, and they were having a very animated conversation. So I went and sat down next to him and said, "Hey, can I join you?" And they were very friendly, and we talked. So the couple was from America. They hung out about half an hour and took off. And so it's me and this guy. His name is John. He lives in Dublin, lives like 50 feet from this pub. He's there all the time, I think. So we're having a great time. We're buying each other pints back and forth. And we get a few pints into it, and he brings up how he's such a fan of Tolkien. And I was like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Tolkien. I love anything fantasy. And then when you know it, like, do you play Warhammer Fantasy? He's like, yes, I do. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That would never happen in the States. I think just more people play in the UK. He had never heard of the channel. But we were very, very animated. I think by the end of it, I know by the end of it, I tore off a tiny corner of somebody's newspaper and scribbled "Once Bitten 360" so he could look it up later. But I think by the end of the night, that piece of paper, we were kind of lit, and the piece of paper was just crumpled and hardly legible. So he swore he would look up the channel and post a comment just to say hi, my buddy John from Dublin, but I'm skeptical because I don't think he's going to remember much. It was a fantastic time. The bartender was kind of rolling his eyes at us because by the end we were just being really loud and high-fiving and stuff like that. So, John, if you see the channel, my gosh, say something. It was a great time. Yeah, so I haven't been doing a whole lot of assembling and painting, but I have been doing a little bit with my Undead Legion. So I have all these Mantic skeleton warriors, which I really like. And they're easy to assemble, which I really like that. And so I got a few of them, and I primed them, and I tried my color scheme. So what I thought I would do, and I got some advice from Gabe Thorne, who's just a brilliant, brilliant painter. The problem is he can't just throw me a little bit of advice and have it do any good, because I'm not a brilliant painter. So, but I said, I want something different. I'm tired of just having, I don't want skeletons that are just bleached bone. And I like the idea of them glowing from the inside and maybe even looking charred, like their bones are kind of blackened, and their clothes are singed, all that kind of stuff. And he gave me this idea, so I tried it. So I primed them yellow, and then I dry brushed over everything with orange, and then I dry brushed again with black. And then I started going in and painting the cloth a little bit different color and the metal a little bit different. And I wanted to keep it old looking and grimy. And it just didn't turn out. It looks like, oh my gosh, it looks like something I did the very first time I ever picked up a palette, picked up a brush. So I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you can see this or not. Now I didn't finish painting them because the clothing isn't done because it just wasn't worth it. But just even the bone and stuff, it doesn't look like he's glowing from the inside. He's been blackened. He looks like I'm a freaking idiot. So I'm like, well, darn it. So now I need new ideas for a painting scheme for my Undead Legion, especially how to paint anything that's skeletal. So I'm open to ideas. I don't want to just prime it brown or black and then dry brush it bleach bone. I really could use some suggestion there because right now I'm kind of frustrated. I mean, I did this a few weeks ago and I was excited that it would turn out cool. And if all I need is to have it turn out cool and me feel confident that I can duplicate that, and then I'm going to paint. I've got 50 or so of them. But now, no, this is awful, absolutely awful. So, yeah, any advice would be much appreciated. So now I'm going to look up on my other second computer monitor and talk a little bit about the rumors, kind of the fresh batch of rumors. I mean, rumors are always kind of fun if you feel like just what's right around the corner. I don't usually pay much attention to them until it's just about time for something to happen, and I think sometime between now and mid-July. So what? Maybe a couple months. I think some big things are going to come out. So for me, it's getting exciting at this point. So I got this. I heard about it through Sustainable Center, who posted a link to the Bell of Lost Souls, and I just got to feel awkward because I'm looking over here. Yeah. So, but the rumor is basically that the 9th edition rules are actually only going to tweak 8th edition rules in a lot of ways. So it's not going to be something earth shattering. Now, what these rumors don't address are whether or not army compositions are going to change, because the long-standing rumors on that is it's going to consolidate down to really just a few armies, and each specific army is going to be consolidated down to just a handful of unit types, and those things don't excite me at all. I dread those changes. I'm really looking forward to finding out what's going to be, because if anything can drive me away from the hobby, it'll be something like that, and so I'm nervous about that. But I love this notion that there's going to be 3 kinds of games you can play. According to this, it'll be something along the lines of the era of Sigmar, which is basically a 500 to 1500 point skirmish game. I love it. I absolutely love that. If I'm going to start a new army, that gives me a game I can play before I paint a million things. And you've seen me before when I paint 50 halberdiers, and I say it's soul crushing. It can be soul crushing, and it keeps people out of the hobby. So to have a small skirmish game that people can get it into the hobby with, I love it. But then you can play what this calls the era of steel, which is basically kind of what we play now, and then the end of time, which is, I assume, end times games. So that's pretty cool. I could see actually having tournaments for each of those. I could see having especially one-day tournaments for the small skirmish games to encourage people to start new armies, and then for the big tournaments, just saying, hey, is this going to be standard rules, or are we going to do the end times rules? I don't know if I'd attended end times rules ones, but you never know. So, now some things, of course, would change. The magic spells would change, be new magic items. So one of these rumors is that regen would change. That instead of being just a 4-up save, it'd be more like the Dark Elf Hydra's regen, which you have a chance of getting wounds back later, which I like. It tones down things like trolls and stuff like that. One rumor, this is just too good to be true. Lances make impact hits. Actually, it's not too good to be true, because if that's all they really do for Ratonia, and if they say that it's only models in base-to-base contact, that means that a lance is going to get 3 impact hits. And if it's at the strength of the horse, it's strength 3. Who gives a shit? I mean, it's not going to do anything. But can you imagine if it was every attacking model? So in a unit of 15, they might have 12 auto hit, even at strength 3. That'd be pretty devastating. So I thought that was pretty cool. +1 strength if you're using a spear against mounted units. I've heard that so many times, people wishing for that. I hope this is a real rumor and not just a wish list. I think that'd be very cool. I think we might actually see spears in the game. There's a reason. If that was the case, then I would consider taking a unit of spearmen. Whereas right now, there's no way I would. I would take either halberds or sword and board. So I think that's very cool. Another rumor is that, kind of like we had in 7th edition, that if you get the charge, that you get to attack first, regardless of initiative, and then presumably initiative would take over second round of combat. I like that. It gives a reason to actually make a charge. I thought that was pretty cool. Fear is as it is now, except checks are at -1 or -2. I like that. In 7th edition, fear was overpowered, especially auto break when you're outnumbered. I hated that rule. That was one of the worst things for the game. I despise that rule. But now fear just doesn't mean anything because you get the inspiring presence, you get the reroll for the battle standard bearer. These are things that I think after 5 years of playing, I find myself forgetting that it didn't always, it wasn't always that way. And in the past, fear was just huge. So now it seems like a blend. Like, yeah, you still get inspiring presence, you still get the reroll, but it'll be -1 if the unit causes fear and -2 if the unit causes terror. I hope that rumor is legitimate. I think that's very, very cool. Um, Now the next one, these rumors I think were very poorly translated from Spanish. So the next thing says lethal blow does 1d3 wounds. So I wonder if lethal blow meant killing blow. And so instead of saying no armor save, automatically dead, if it said no armor save and it does 1d3 wounds, that's pretty cool. It kind of tones it down just a hair. I mean, you need a 6 to get it anyway. So I don't know. I like it because it's a little bit different, but I don't really care. But they still keep one thing that has heroic killing blow, which is just awesome because that's what makes Bretonnian lords so incredible. So characters riding monsters have a combined profile. Whatever, don't care. So then we have steadfast is lost if you get a single row of 5, basically 5 models in your flank negates steadfast. Yeah, I think I like that. I think I like it because, when I first read about steadfast when 8th edition came out, I loved it because, it's getting to the point in 7th edition where nothing beat cavalry. All you had to do was win combat and boom, you're dead. So I like that. The problem is now we've gone the other extreme, and it seems that all you ever see are Death Stars. Now, sometimes they have Crown of Command, so it's a moot point, but without the Crown of Command, get enough models in there, you're like, well, I'll just be steadfast forever. It doesn't matter if you outmaneuver me or whatever. So now movement matters, maneuvering matters, and if you can get in the flank with something, that's a big deal. You might actually see Empire detachments. So I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Let's see. Then, if I understand this rumor correctly, it says that if a model causes Thunderstomp, then it also negates Steadfast. So that makes monsters a lot more powerful, which I like because the problem now is, nobody wants to bring monsters because cannons are too powerful. But now it might just be worth it. If you can survive the cannons, those monsters can absolutely wreck these Death Stars. And so, yeah, they're still vulnerable to cannons, but there's a bigger payoff for them. So I hope that rumor is legitimate. I think that'd be very, very cool. A couple of these rumors I don't want to address because I can't even figure out what the guy's saying, what the translation is saying. Buildings are going to get slightly different rules, but it says they still look bad. So I don't know. I would like them to improve building rules. Combat resolution goes back to numerical superiority again. I kind of like that. I kind of like that in 7th too, that you get a +1 combat res for outnumbering the enemy. And then table quadrants will have some value more. And I like that because now if you stick everything in one unit, you can't get the table quadrants. May or may not matter, but anything to discourage Death Stars, I'm a fan of. So yeah, I think we always take these rumors with a grain of salt. There's more than that too, but we always take them with a grain of salt because nobody really knows. But I certainly like the idea of keeping the core rule set the same. I think it's worked well. I'm not tired of 8th. At the end of every edition, I predict that I'm going to get tired of some of the abuses that are just become commonplace. So it sounds like they're trying to address some of the biggest complaints, um, but yet keep the game the same. So that I'm really, really excited about. As I said before, I think my biggest concern is what are they going to do about the armies? Are they really going to take us all the way down to just a handful? And within that handful, is it really going to be a very limited range of units? But we don't know that's going to be the case yet. I think it's going to be something along those lines. But those still worry me. But if these rumors are legit, and for instance, it says that lances have impact hits, that means that there's still Bretonnian knights in lance formation. So even if they are combined with the Empire, they're still somewhat distinct. So there's that. So yeah, that's all I have, and I'm actually out of time. This is crazy. I'm not exaggerating. I'm so busy. Now I got to go. My daughter has been gone for 4 months doing a study abroad program in Scotland, and she gets home tonight, so I get to go to the airport and pick her up. I'm very, very excited to see her. Like I said before, I don't foresee playing any games this weekend. Possibly, maybe next Tuesday I'll play a game, and if not, then maybe the following weekend. And then after that, I should get uh, a little bit more regular. I'm actually the tournament organizer for a grand tournament here at the end of May in Durham, North Carolina, the Audios 8th edition. So if you're anywhere near the area, yeah, sign up for that. Come out, and I expect that I should be able to get in at least a couple games just before or just after the tournament, which is very exciting. And I don't know what my next tournament will be, but for anyone interested, in July, I am going to Buckeye Battles near Columbus, Ohio, this year again. I think I've been 3 times. I missed last year, and I'm excited to be back. So certainly, whenever I go to tournaments, there's a bunch of battle reports, minimum 5, and sometimes 7 or 8. So that's it for the studio update. Got to run. Talk to you later.